For some people, the thought of a job interview is incredibly stressful. It can be hard to know what the employer is looking for based on the questions they ask you. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll know what kind of interviews there are, how to prepare for an interview, and how to answer common interview questions. A job interview is a conversation between a job applicant and an employer. It assesses whether an applicant should be hired. Employers are often looking for someone that is dependable, positive, honest, self-motivated, and confident. They also want you to have a strong work ethic and a willingness to grow and learn. There are 3 types of interviews, and the hiring process can look like 1, 2, or all of these. A phone interview often happens in the first round of interviews. It allows the employer to screen candidates based on their experience, qualifications, and salary expectations. To prepare for a phone interview, do your homework. Research the company, interviewer, and the job. Have a quiet, comfortable environment to do the interview in. Make sure to listen first and then talk. And have a question or two prepared to ask at the end if there's an opportunity for questions. A panel interview is when a group of people ask questions. This allows the panel to get a realistic view of how the candidate would perform under stressful conditions. Good preparation and practicing in advance will make the interview easier for you. When in a panel interview, try to read the room and engage with everyone. Start by introducing yourself and shaking hands. Make eye contact with everyone as you answer questions. Aim for it to feel more like a conversation rather than an interrogation. Practicing your response to typical interview questions can help with this. Be patient. Some panels are well prepared with their questions. It's also possible to feel like you're being asked the same question over and over again. After the interview, send thank you notes to each person. The most common type of interview is a one-on-one interview. It's a conversational format with the interviewer driving the conversation and an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end. The questions usually analyze problem-solving abilities and abilities to work with a team. Be prepared to reflect upon your prior achievements, whether at your previous job or in school. For in-person interviews, whether it's in front of a panel or one-on-one, shake everyone's hand at the beginning and end of an interview. A limp handshake is a bad handshake, and it gives the impression of weakness. A good handshake should be firm, but not crush the interviewer's hand. Now that you know what a job interview can look like, what should you bring to an interview? It helps to have a list of references and their contact information. These could be coworkers, previous employers, teachers, mentors, basically someone who knows you and would speak about you positively. Make sure you ask them for permission to list them as a reference first. You should also bring a few copies of your resume, a cover letter, a list of questions you want to ask, and something to take notes on and write with. Depending on the circumstances, it doesn't hurt to bring awards, certificates, letters of recommendation, and business cards. To prepare for an interview, it's important to dress for success. First impressions are important, so make sure to dress professionally, have appropriate body language, use appropriate language, arrive early, maintain eye contact, and most importantly, be confident, honest, and yourself. For more in-depth details on how to dress for success, check out our Dress for Success workshop video at mwwc.org/workshops. It's always a good idea to research yourself and the company before going into the interview. You should know what information about you is on the internet. Your future employer is probably researching you and will see the same information. If you know who is going to conduct the interview, research them as well. During the interview, the employer is trying to decide if you can do the job. Do you have the knowledge and skills needed for the position? Are you motivated? What qualities can you bring to the team or company? Knowing what the employer is looking for will help you be prepared when you try to sell yourself during the interview. Don, a talent specialist at our Ludington location, shares tips on what to do and not do during an interview, as well as what he looks for when interviewing people.
You have to have eye contact. If you can't look at your future employer, I'm not going to hire you. That's the first thing. The second thing is that don't ask me how much your job is. I'm going to tell you if I'm interested in maybe the second interview or a phone call, or if there's an opportunity for questions, but that should not be one of your questions that you're going to ask me. And it ain't possible. Don't use ain't, and I've had that in some of the basics of elementary grammar. and interview tactics that you need to use. Those are some of the things. What I look for in interviews is a couple things initially. Before they even say a word, you can have an idea of their personality. Are they coming in and shaking your hand? Are they coming in, even though they already maybe or have already know you, it's still appropriate and necessary, in my opinion, to shake that person's hand. If it's a panel, shake all 10 people's hands. And again, I have to use several times, I've had interviews in front of boards of education. Some board members I knew personally. I shook all board members' hands. Initially, even though that maybe one or two maybe simply ask the questions, they are still on the panel. That's really important. So personality and just making sure that you have a firm handshake with the panelists.
No matter what job you're being interviewed for, there are standard questions that you can expect to be asked. Practice your answers to these questions before going into any interview. Can you tell me a little about yourself? Keep your answer brief, structured, and professional. Focus on your career or school self, but feel free to include some personal details if it complements what you've been doing professionally. How did you hear about the position? This gives the interviewer insight into how intentional you were when applying for the job. Employers want to know if you were excited and specifically applied to work for them rather than someone who randomly applied for a bunch of positions. What do you know about the company? Doing some basic research beforehand, like looking at the company website or social media, will come in handy. Again, the employer wants to know you are intentional when applying and are excited about the company. Why do you want this job? Obviously, you want to make money. However, your answer to this question should reflect something more than just wanting a paycheck. Look through the job description and pick out 2 to 3 reasons as to why you think you would be good for that position. Why should we hire you? When answering this question, you want to highlight the skills you have that will be most valuable to the company. Answer with confidence and clarity. Reading the job description can help you pick out what qualities you have that the company is looking for. What are your greatest professional strengths? This is an opportunity to brag about yourself and discuss any notable accomplishments you have that might set you apart from the other candidates. Some of these might already be listed on your resume, but pick out the most important ones that relate to the job you're applying for. What do you consider to be your weaknesses? Be honest but fair in your answer. You don't want to be too critical of yourself, but you also don't want to sugarcoat it. Describe your solution for your weakness or how you plan to work on your weakness in the future. How would your coworkers describe you? If you are struggling with this answer, ask your coworkers. You might be surprised by their answers. If you're a student or don't currently work, ask your teachers, family, or peers. Another way to prepare for this question is to look at letters of recommendations. How do you deal with pressure or stressful situations? Think of a time when you experienced stress or pressure. Be honest with your answer. Come prepared with an example to describe and discuss what you did in that situation. If you wish you had responded to the situation differently, explain how you would react differently when faced with stress in the future. Tell me about a challenge or conflict you faced at work and how you dealt with it. This question can be answered similarly to the previous one. Describe the situation, but focus on the resolution and how you handled it. Focus less on the problem itself. Do you have any questions for us? You should always have at least one question prepared to ask when given the opportunity. It can be specific to the company or role you're applying for, but can also be vague. This part of the interview will give you insight into their expectations of you. The questions you ask might depend on the type of job you're applying for. Some questions you should avoid asking include, what's the salary? Can you tell me about your health insurance? What are your paid leave policies? These are questions you can ask as you move forward in the interview process. But when it comes to the very first interview, you're not necessarily in a position to negotiate. Once you know the employer is interested in hiring you, that's when questions like those would be appropriate. To recap, it's important to walk into an interview prepared and dressed for success. Employers are looking for someone who is motivated and has the necessary skills for their available position. Regardless of the type of interview you find yourself in, our tips can help you leave that interview feeling positive about the outcome. Want help preparing for your next interview? Michigan Works West Central offers free practice interviews and can even review your cover letter and resume. We also have professional business attire available in our clothes closets if you need it. For more information, visit mwwc.org/contact to find the service center nearest you and to schedule an appointment.